Hi guys, and welcome to this week's lecture, which is all about common errors. And this came from your scripts. All right, let's go on. Capital letters. All I'm gonna say about this is remember mint, month and days, the word I, names of people and places, titles, starts of sentences. If you have a huge problem with capitals, remember mint. Print it out, have it on your poster, because you shouldn't be making mistakes with capitals. It's lazy. What it shows me is that you're lazy and you just didn't even bother to check it. I've been making a whole bunch of videos about proofreading, checking your work, and still, I still get people giving me their work with capital mistakes. That's a beginner English learner's mistake. You are not a beginner English. You are about to start teaching English. Man, fix it. So I'm not going to say anything about that. You need to check that on your own. You need to get a grip on that. Just check your work at the end. Seriously. The next one is plurals. And here's the classic line that I see all the time. Hello everyone, we are your English teacher, right? And this is a group work. There should be an S on teachers, and there should also be a capital E on English. I see this again and again and again. And to you, maybe you're just like, chill out, like it's not that big of a deal. So what? But not only is this missing a full stop at the end, not only is it missing an S, it's also missing a capital E. This may be a little bit of a mistake, but if you can't deal with these little things, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And what I usually tend to see is that people's works are sloppy. They're literally like sloppy joes, and I just get sloppy after sloppy after sloppy after sloppy. I'm sorry, if you serve sloppy in your full-time job, you're gonna serve sloppy. To your kids, you're gonna teach sloppy. It's like a chain reaction. If you don't fix that now, and if you don't get in the habit of checking your work and producing good quality written work, it's gonna affect you in the long run. I'm a living proof of it. I'm not the greatest writer in English, and in fact, even though I talk to you guys about these mistakes, I'm one of the biggest ones that doesn't check their work, and I see mistake after mistake, and it's just not professional. I remember in my first job, my manager Kelly told me, your work doesn't just represent the company that you're working for, it represents you as a person. And so if you don't put in the effort to fix your scripts and to give me good quality scripts, then that speaks about you more than it does about your school or anybody else. It speaks about you being not professional and not caring. So you have to. I don't take the excuse of English is not my first language, because this isn't an English is not my first language thing. This is just about when you've done a written piece of work, make sure you check it for these basic mistakes. And this happens to native speakers as well. Just like I told you, I used to make these mistakes too. So check your plurals, right? Read through your scripts and make sure that, everything is matching. When you read it out loud, does it sound okay? Do the basic spell check, or go to Grammarly, or use Hemingway editor. They should pick up these mistakes. Sometimes they don't, but mostly they should. All right, next thing is articles. This is a huge problem, and on this one, honestly, I would not blame you guys, because it's a pretty big one. So here I found this table. I think it was British Council with like Barclays. It was an image that I saw on Google that I thought was really good. So it breaks it down. A or an is when you use the noun for the first time. Actually, the best advice that I would give you, whenever you have a noun, whenever you write and you use a noun in your writing, you need to think about how you will introduce that noun. Whether that noun goes with an A or an or the or nothing. You have to always introduce a noun with an article or without an article. Now, I've worked on this for quite a while, but I do have a little cheat sheet that I made ages ago, and right here I talk about count and non-count with all articles, and a quick way to practice this is let me take this word. I'm gonna take this word and let's put it through our article. So finger, is it countable or is it a non-countable noun? So can you put a number in front of the word finger and it still makes sense? Can you say 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, and it makes sense? Yes, you can do that. So it's a countable noun. Is it a singular or is it plural? Well, we're just talking about 1 finger, so it's singular. Do you know what you're talking about? Is it a specific situation or a non-specific situation? So let's make a sentence using the finger. This is my finger. Is it specific or non-specific? This is my finger. Wait, what am I saying? Okay. The sentence is the ring finger. This lesson is not going great, right? Every idea that I'm giving, I'm like, eh. Anyways, this is the ring finger. That's the sentence. And my noun is finger. So is it specific? Yes, it is, because I'm probably, if I'm talking to the person, I'm going to be like, this is the ring finger, right? This is the ring finger. It's very specific. If I was in a more general setting, I can say you can put your ring on a finger. Then it would be non-specific and I would use a or an. So far, I found that this little table is most helpful. After you write your sentence, check that you're using the right article by going through this. It's a bit long, yes, but it gets good results and it helps you. And I think for things such as common mistakes with articles, I think it's over time, the more you every time you write, you physically do the checking yourself, not just through spell checker, but you physically look at each noun that you are using and just double check that you're using the right article. It will help you. There are tons of exceptions, which is why you see me confused, because there's tons of, depending on the sentence and the context, and there's tons of exceptions when you know a normal rule wouldn't follow. But for the most part, it's a good way to kind of get used to this and get used to figuring out what articles to use, because it's such a common mistake. But it's vital, because if you don't tell me which finger you're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, articles, they are confusing. They even confuse me as I was explaining it. But it's something that you just have to do every single time. I would say, if you're serious about English, every time you write something and there's a noun, check it afterwards with this little table. I can't remember where I got this little table from, but I remember that website was really good. If I remember it, I will definitely post a link to that website. All right, let's go back to what we were looking at earlier. So, articles. I can't believe it. I'm on 20 minutes already. Okay, let's carry on. Spelling, you guys, this should not be a problem, because you guys are too old. You're too old, right? But it happens to all of us. I'm terrible at spelling. And so just double check it. If you see a red line, right? If you go on, where is it? Blue line is usually a format issue, and here you can see it's a format issue because they put a space in front between the number and the punctuation when there should be no space. So every time you use a punctuation, the space comes after the punctuation. But I'm trying to see if I can get, if this document had, there you go. Well, this is not so much a spelling, it's more, yeah, the computer is like, well, if you want to show that the person is thinking, you need 3 dots. But if you put 2 dots, it makes it look like you spelled something wrong. Here, obviously, it's a different language, so it's not sure what you're saying. And then here, it feels like you've said the word twice. So word will do a basic check for you. Those lines, don't ignore those lines. Those lines are there for a reason. And I never understand why students ignore the lines that are there. Okay, next one is the difference between the word alphabet and letter. And I see this all the time. Students say, okay, we are going to learn, what is a classic sentence that I hear? We're going to learn, what did they say? We're going to learn the alphabet A, when really they mean the letter A, because they're only referring to one of the alphabets, not all of the alphabet. So very simply, alphabet represents all of the letters or characters in that language, whereas letter refers to only one of them, right? So if you're just referring to one and not all, for example, in English there's 26, if you're not referring to all 26, don't use the word alphabet. Use the word letter. And when you're teaching, most times you're talking about letter. But if you want the students, for example, to learn the alphabet song, which looks at all of the letters, then you can use that word. So just remember, if you're referring to all of the 26 letters, use alphabet. If you're only referring to one, use the word letter. Today we're going to learn this letter. Finger starts with letter F, not finger starts with alphabet F. No, finger has how many letters? So most of the times when you're teaching, you're going to be referring to the word letters, not alphabet. Remember that, it's for free. Most of you are trying to say fun. So this lesson will be fun. We're going to learn a fun song, but you use the word funny. So what's the difference? Fun is when you enjoy yourself and have a good time. Funny is a situation, person, or thing that makes you laugh. So I hear a lot of my students, when we used to have face-to-face classes, they would say, oh, teacher, today's class was very funny. And I always ask them, did I make you laugh? It's possible, because I do try and make jokes. Or did you have a good time? If you're referring to good time, use the word fun. If you're referring to a comedian or somebody that just made you laugh, use the word funny. But most times when you're teaching, you want to use the word fun. We're gonna have a fun lesson. Did you have a fun lesson in that way? Okay, the next word is vocabulary versus words. So it works in a similar way to alphabet versus letters. Vocabulary refers to all the words that you're going to learn. So for example, if we are doing a lesson about colors, I can say today's vocabulary is about colors, because we're referring to all the words we're going to learn. But when you're only referring to one, then you would use the word words. So here, somebody has put the example here. Putting it simply, a word is one part of a vocabulary. So here there are 11 words, and the vocabulary is all of those words. Putting it simply, a word is one part of a vocabulary. All those 11 words are vocabulary, but one word is simply, or word, or one, or part. So most of the times, again, when you're teaching your lesson, so say for example, I would say Um, okay, this is today's vocabulary, right? And vocabulary, it sounds singular, but it actually means a lot of things. We have 3 words here, but they're all vocabulary, right? They're all vocabulary. So we can say this is today's vocabulary. The first word we're going to learn, right? So you're going to use it like that. So vocabulary refers to the collective, all of these words. But when you're only referring to one, it's just one word. One word. Or you can say one vocabulary word. You can use it like that as well. Next is difficult words. And I was thinking about it. I was like, how can you tell if a word is difficult or not? And I think it's really difficult because I think, so the problem that I usually have is most students use words that are more appropriate to older students. And I think it's because these are the words that they're using or they're learning about. So it makes sense. Like we talk a lot in EP1 and in EP2, we talk a lot about stress. So it makes sense that they would say, okay, kids, the stress is on blah, blah. But when you're teaching, you have to think about the level of education of that child. They are not going to understand the word stress, right? They're not going to understand the word stress. They don't know that concept. They haven't learned that concept. So instead, you need to find a word that is simpler and easier for them. So what are the words that are related to stress, but you don't have to say the word stress? So I've seen a lot of people use the word accent. I would say no to that. Pronounce, I would say no to that. A simple way or a simpler word would be say. Or in this sentence, the stress is on A. I would use the word louder. We make the louder sound on A, or make A louder, or the loud noise or the loud sound is on A. I would use words that they would be more familiar with. I think you can take a look at your children's dictionary. That can give you clues as to what words that they're dealing with. But you do have to be careful about the type of word that you're using. For example, this other sentence, our goal of this class is mastering this song and perfectly understanding the key words. I've got mastering, perfectly, understanding, keyword, or maybe mastering perfectly, keyword. Those are some big words, right? That you're giving the kids. How would they know what mastering is? Perfectly, maybe they'll know perfect. Maybe that's okay. Understanding, we use that quite a lot. Keyword, unless you use that regularly, they may not know what you're talking about. So what's another word that you can use instead of mastering? What is the teacher trying to say? Basically, they're trying to say, today we're going to learn a song. That's all they're trying to say. And today we're going to learn a song and some words. That's all the kids need to know. Of course, you're trying to get them to master the song and to learn perfectly and understand the words. That's what you're trying to do, but do you need to tell them that? Will they understand that if you tell it to them? I always say, look at the types of words that you're teaching to your students and look at the sentences that you're giving to them. If my student doesn't know the word cat, how are they gonna know the word mastering? Like, compare them and see, like, what types of words do they not even know? And what types of word am I using to explain those words? So it's all about simplicity, breaking it down, actually using less words and being very direct. Okay, the other thing is over explaining. And I took this from a lesson that from previous students. I can't remember when. It could have been last semester. But this was from a previous lesson. I liked the concept that the teachers were using. They did a kind of little skit with a pencil case, and then they asked the kids that let's meet some friends. Our first friend who lives in the pencil case is pencil. Nothing wrong with that. But then the next sentence is, this is an indispensable friend in writing and the most frequently found friend in your handwriting. They don't need that. They're learning the word pencil. How are they gonna know what is indispensable friend? What is most frequently found friend in your handwriting? Like, it's just, you're over explaining. You already told them our first friend who lives in a pencil case is pencil. That's all that they need to know. They don't need to know all of this. So I always say to you, if you are going to explain, stick to one sentence and look at the types of words that you're using. I think somebody said if you use words with like tons of syllables, like 5 or 6, you're going too far. Stick to shorter words, but even shorter words like stress, it's only 1 syllable, but it's still a difficult word. So just take a look at it. Do the students need to know that it's an indispensable friend in writing? Or if you wanted to say that to your students, if you really are so passionate about telling them this, how can you say it in a simpler way? Can you just not say it, we use a pencil to write? That's kind of what you're saying. A pencil is for writing. We need a pencil to write. Or better yet, ask them, what can I do with a pencil? Draw, write, or eat. And hopefully they'll tell you draw and write. And then you're involving them in the lesson. So for me, it's like, why are you saying this big sentence? What's it for? What does it help? Does it help your student? No, it confuses them. So back off, right? Most of the sentences that this teacher is using are great, except for that one long sentence. All right, let's take a look at some more sentences here, or some more extract. Oh no, it's the same one. But I asked the question, how can this be improved? What can we do to improve it? So this is an example of how I would put it. I would break it down into those steps. Number 1, picture it. So that's my eliciting technique. I'm going to use a picture. Number 2, gesture it. Number 3, repeat it. So here I have, did you find out who the friends in the pencil case are? Yes. Great. Let's meet them. First we have and I'll show the picture. What is it, class? A pencil. And can you see there is teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student. Oh well, teacher, student, teacher, teacher, student. But it's a back and forth, and that's what your lesson should be. It should be you say a line, they say a line. You say a line, they say a line. It's a conversation between you and your students. Sometimes you say more, sometimes they say more. But it should be back and forth. It shouldn't just be teacher, 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 and then student. It's a boot? No, what should I say?
They are boots.
Good, they are boots. They are a pair of boots. Whoa, good job. Okay, how about this one? Shorts. Make a sentence.
Me.
Okay.
He's wearing a shirt.
He's wearing
a plaid shirt.
He's wearing a He's wearing plaid shorts. We don't need a. If we have magic S, no a. Okay? Magic S is here. Magic S. Magic S. If we have magic S, we don't need a. There you go. Good. Magic S, magic S. I am S and I am S and I say S, 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 S. Okay. Can you see the magic S?
Yes.
Yeah. So make a sentence. Yes.
They are pajamas.
Good. And?
They are pair of pajamas.
Good.
They are his pajamas.
Good.
They are his pajamas, a pair of red plaid 못하겠다.
잘했어. Good job. Another extract from a student script, and they've said, let's take a closer look at the words. And they've put the PPT. A doctor works in a hospital. He treats people's illnesses. A dancer dances and a singer sings. Some people do both. A teacher teaches other people. An artist paints. Finally, a farmer is a person who grows a lot of food. You can eat rice, bread, and fruits because of the farmer. I don't mind the sentences that they're using. However, where is the student interaction? Where is the part where you involve the students? It's just the teacher standing up with maybe a clicker or with their, where is it? With their clicker or with their thing, and then they're just pointing. Number one, a doctor works in a hospital and treats people's illnesses. A dancer dances. A singer sings. Some people do both. A teacher teaches other people. And it's just you just talking. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop your mess. All right? Let's see how the teacher can improve it. So similar to how I did it earlier. Get your listening in, number one. Number two, gesture it. So I would say, if we're looking at the word doctor, I would say, good job. Let's make a gesture for doctor. 3, 2, 1, a doctor. I don't know. That could be our gesture. And then the students will do it. A doctor. Another thing that I'm constantly trying to do is adding in the articles, because again, the more familiar students are using the articles with the noun, the easier it will be for them to implement it when they speak, when they write. Repetition, number 3. Awesome. How many times can we clap the word doctor? Hopefully students say 2 claps. Let's do it together. 3, 2, 1. Doctor. Is it doctor or doctor? Hopefully a student will say doctor. Good. Or sometimes I say the word a few times. I say doctor, doctor, or I hum it. And then that helps the students to say the word. All right, so heavy animals can't run fast. So this is what it sounds like. Your turn. 3, 2, 1, go.
Heavy animals can run fast.
Let's hum it first. 3, 2, 1. Good. Now let's say the sentence. 3, 2, 1. Heavy animals can't run fast. You guys are fantastic. Always add a compliment in. Let's say it one more time. 3, 2, 1. Doctor. A doctor. 3, 2, 1. A doctor. Or I would say a doctor. This time with the gestures. 3, 2, 1. A doctor. A doctor. Or we can do a doctor. A doctor. A doctor. And then you go on to question it. So I can ask these sorts of questions as CCQs. A doctor works in a restaurant. A doctor has a white coat. A doctor works in a hospital. Where does a doctor work? Can I go to the doctor if I'm sick? So those are all examples. I would say one question and allow the students to answer. And also, I would make sure that I have flashcards or I have a PPT that shows these examples in a visual format, not just in a written format. And the students can reply to me. And then the last thing that I would do is, great job. Write the word down on your vocabulary paper. This helps so much. Later when we need to review the words, the students have a copy of the word already. And it saves me a lot of stress from having to make all these cards. So this is how you can implement those 4 steps that I talk about when we're talking about teaching vocabulary. Elicit, picture it, repeat it, and question it. Include that in your lesson. And as much as possible, make it you say a line, students say a line. You say a line, students say a line. Make it as interactive as possible. So that's all I have for you guys. There's tons more mistakes, but I think if you focus on these that I've mentioned today, it will make your lesson a lot better, and it will make it a lot easier for your students to participate in your lesson, and it will help your lesson to be a lot more interactive. And that's what we want. We want an exciting, interactive class all the time, not just one time. Every single time your students come to you, it has to be fun, exciting. You've got to make it more about them. As much as possible, make the lesson about them. All right, thank you very much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And I shall see you next week. We are heading into the last few weeks of the semester, so to that. I'm excited, and I hope we can have a really great end to this semester and enjoy our summer vacations. So thank you very much. Bye bye.